Hi guys, Alicia here, and today I'm going to be speaking to you about the difference between a doula and a midwife. It's a question that I've been getting a lot recently, so thought I would share with you some answers. So, a midwife is a health care medical professional. They go to school for 4+ years, and they're learning about birth and how to get the baby out safely and how to care for mum. They would go through kind of risk and assessment in that respect, and really kind of just make sure that the pregnancy is as healthy as possible, and everybody's going to be safe, mum and baby, or birthing person and baby, during this time. A midwife, depending again on the setup, is different everywhere, but would be there really when active labor begins, and then during the actual birth, and then obviously postpartum as well. Through the early stages of labor, you can generally call the midwives, but they wouldn't really show up, or you wouldn't go to your birthing place during active labor generally. They generally switch on duty when you're in active labor. If you're going to a hospital or a birthing center, a midwife wouldn't really be in the room. They'd be kind of in and out, looking after other patients, and then looking after you when you kind of need them. Generally speaking, they wouldn't really kind of check up on you until, again, you need them, because they are there to make sure that baby and birthing person are safe, and kind of well in that respect. They also make sure that any complications are addressed during the labor. And if they notice anything during pregnancy that kind of doesn't really sit well with them, if it becomes for any reason a high-risk pregnancy or is a high-risk pregnancy, you generally would be transferred over to an obstetrician to look after you for kind of the main birthing event. And then a midwife would look after you kind of around that, but your main care provider would then switch to an obstetrician if it became high risk or it was a high risk pregnancy. So again, it depends where you're located. You can have an obstetrician and also be under the guidance of a midwifery team, because midwifery team does have its perks. I have to admit, in Ontario, we have 6 weeks of care after we've had our baby. They came and check up at you at your home. I don't know with COVID if it's the same rules. Again, it depends. It keeps changing. But in normal circumstances, they came to visit us. I was calling them at 4 a.m, stuck when I was stressing and worried with Leo, and it's kind of like a lot more aftercare, I found. So that's kind of the midwife. So again, just to clarify, a midwife is part of is a healthcare provider. So you either have an obstetrician, a doctor, or a midwife. Okay, it's medical. They're there to kind of nurture, but their main goal is to make sure that birthing person and baby are safe, healthy, and staying well. A doula then focuses on the emotional and mental health of the client and also the family. We kind of connect to ease any discomforts, and encourage confidence. So it's really about empowerment, and to teach you all the tools and all the questions that you're going to need to know to have the smoothest kind of and most confident labor and delivery as possible. A doula would join their client for early labor if the client wants it. So if you go into spontaneous labor, or even if you're induced, a doula would be there kind of providing that just extra support. Because remember, if you have say just a midwife or just an obstetrician, they're generally not in the room during early labor. You're kind of on your own in a lot of situations, whereas a doula would be there the whole time. A doula should be certified. Having a certification means that you've learnt just a little bit more with regards to anatomy, physiology, what's actually happening when somebody is in labor, how to identify early labor with compared to active labor, etc., etc. Also, as well, we learn how to literally be hands-on. So how to hold you in different positions when you're in labor, where to put some pressure points when you're in labor to kind of make you feel more comfortable. So it's that physical connection as well as emotional connection. If you want to dim the lights, if you need some water, if you want your head patted, if you want a shoulder rub, if you want someone just to kind of sway along and sing a song, that's what a doula does. That's what they're for. And also to provide support to your partner. Maybe you both need a drink. the village, the bigger the village, the easier this whole situation is. So that's what we do. A doula is in the delivery room. So we are there when the baby is born, normally. Again, depends on COVID and what's going on there and what's allowed, depending on what's allowed where you are. But generally speaking, a doula would be in the room when you are giving birth. And again, if you have a midwife, if you have an obstetrician there, kind of focusing on the baby exiting the body, and a doula would be there kind of perhaps head end or holding the hand or, cheering the person on and making them feel like they can do it. That's what a doula does. And we also, a lot of people think that a doula is an advocate. I personally believe I'm not there to speak for a person. My goal is to arm you with as much knowledge as you need to have an empowered birth, whether it's a cesarean birth or whether it is a vaginal birth. Because the more you know, the more comfortable you will feel. So that is my job. It's not to speak for you. There are some people who can't speak verbally. Maybe they sign, maybe they have to use sign language. I don't sign, so I would, find a doula that could do that if that was the situation. And then the person signing would then or the doula that's signing would then act as like a translator. That's fine, but they're still not speaking for the person. And there's a big difference with either speaking for or sort of just transferring information. It's a huge difference. So my goal is to empower you and arm you with as much knowledge so you can have the most empowering birth. There's no point in me holding all the information, asking all the questions, and you still have no idea what's going on. Because ultimately, in the end of the day, it's happening to your body. So you should know. And that's it. That's basically the difference. One is really, really medical, and one is really not medical. You do get doulas that are training to be midwives, which is great too. But generally speaking, if you're hired as a midwife, it is the medical side of things. If you are hired as a doula, it is the physical, emotional kind of support that we're providing. So I hope that answers some questions. If you have any more questions, please let me know. I'd love to hear them. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.